I'm Nicole. I'm 19. Second-year international students at University of Toronto. Have served as a political activist and student entrepreneur for 4 years now. People ask me, how are you able to achieve so much in such a young age? How are you able to connect with industry leaders and all these connections you have? And how, as an international student, able to work in the government of Canada, coordinate volunteers around Canada? 4 years ago, I was a high school student, like everyone else. I have absolutely no idea what I want to do, who I am. The only decision I confirmed is I am going to study overseas. Considering the fact that culture might be the biggest factor that I encounter in the future, I started to travel around Taiwan, interview cultural dedicators in Taiwan, educators, influencers, directors, and then I find my roots. I find who I am. 2 years ago, I got into independent journalism. I work with the journalist community to create a startup that works with government, work with schools, bringing media literacy education to the 21st century future leaders. I work with journalists and frontliners from politically oppressed areas like Ukraine, like Myanmar, like Afghanistan, and provide fundraising and provide a platform for their journalists, for their people to have a voice to speak out for themselves. And then, a year ago, I landed in Toronto, all by myself. I have no families, no friends in Toronto. As a college student, I make new friends and I party a lot. And then just this year, I realized that is not the life I want. And then I started to get into politics. I work with political workers around Canada and around the world, and then I create the empire myself. So today I want to talk about belief, decisions, and goals. The first concept I want to talk about is grow horizontally, not vertically. The willingness to put yourself out in the wilderness, to experiment yourself, to show your potential. I had a talk with my friends in Toronto. He's a university student. He said, we have a brain, and we have two sides. One of the sides, we think about calculations. We think about elevation. We think about when we want to get this job. What should I do? And then in order to get a higher salary, we compete with our counterparts. We think, how can I get a better grade to compete with my students, with my classmates, with my counterparts? We think about what I want to become and what I need to do to get what I want. But another side of the brain, we believe in magic. We believe in genuine connection with people. We explore, we have this youth inner self to put ourselves out there and explore different things. This was the Toronto mayor election, just happened this year in June. My friends was also there. Every year there are poli-sci students and medical science students and econ students graduate every year from prestigious universities. The debate, all the poli-sci student was talking about, who should I work with? Who should I vote for? So I can elevate my position in that political party. No one talked about the ethic to become a politician, to become a responsible human being. This is one of my classes in University of Toronto. It's called Order and Disorder, Problems and Solutions. One of the students, her mother, works in the Minister of Education in Canada. And she talks about every year there are so many students providing resume networking and all these workshops on how to elevate themselves in this position. But nobody are being taught to become a human. Something I like about North American culture in general, or Canadian culture, is no one will judge who you are. You can become who you are. You want to do whatever you want, nobody cares. Whereas in Taiwan, there are a little bit of cultural limitation. You're being limited, and the society will shape that who you should become. So I got into pageantry. I got into modeling. Yes, you might be like, Nicole, you're in politics, you're in law. Why are you in pageant? After entering the pageant, I realized how these women union themselves, how they work together to break down the stigmatizations and stereotypes of this industry, how they worked so hard to bring out what they care about and raise awarenesses about women empowerment. I also got into politics. I explored different political clubs and different political parties and meet amazing political workers with envision with their mission in this country and serve for the people. I also got into fintech and business, work with accelerators and business people, and then work on how to organize a thing and work with my coworkers from around the world. This is an organization called Yes from Toronto. The idea of Yes Fem theory is to encourage strangers to meet each other and get out of their comfort zone and experience something they never experienced before. This is also one of the social movements I'm involved in. The Ukrainian exchange students in Toronto help them with the Ukrainian week and allow people in Toronto to understand what happens in Ukraine. And I realized how much I explore actually gives back to me after years. These are all the amazing people and politicians I work with, compete different political systems and realized how different politics is and how we can work together even though we are so different and yet so much in common. So here's a little bit summary I talk to myself while I explore different fields and bring out your potentials and possibilities. You know how the game is played, you know the rule. And after you know the rule, you know who you want to become and what you want. This is a little bit quote from Marshall McLuhan, a Canadian professor on media and book. I don't explain, I explore. The second concept that I want to talk about is having a central belief. Every time I consult a student, whenever a young leader has come up to me and be like, hey, Nicole, what should I do in my future? Do you have any suggestion? I tell them, find something that you cares about in your community, whether it's in your school, whether it's in the society that you find problematic, or even the world, climate change, human rights violations, anything you care about. And once you develop your interest in these topics, you will find your own values and principles that will hold your life accountable. This was in high school. I was involved, as I mentioned, in independent journalists, and I connected with frontliners and activists. And I have to be brutally honest, I was traumatized when I was 15 years old, seeing how people are being politically oppressed. And as a journalist, how much can I do? And then I turned my head to politics and realized if I stand in a perspective of a decision maker, I can probably make a better and larger scale of impact. So here is my summary. While exploring the opportunities, it is essential to define a value and principle that you cares about, and that will hold your life accountable and shed a light of a pathway that you can go through. Lastly, I want to talk about to set up a goal and choose wisely. Growing up, you will encounter many decisions, whether which school should I go to, which company should I choose, which major should I choose, should I marry this person, should I born a child. These are all the decisions. Set up a final goal and make the decisions accordingly. This happened this year in February. I am a journalist, so I am nonpartisan and I don't choose sides. Two political parties invite me to work in their parties, and I realized that the higher you become, the higher position you get, the more responsibility you have, and then you have to choose a side. So then I choose a party and work with them, and now I'm in a campaign. This is also the last concept I want to talk about is financial power and dreams and goals. You probably heard people talk about if you need to sacrifice your dreams and go for money, or should I go for money and pursue my dreams? If you ever think about this, this is actually a circular relationship. If you want to achieve your dreams and goals, you might need a financial power and a certain social status to make a larger impact. So this is also a new concept that I want you guys to think about, especially teenagers. And the last words for everyone is remember who you are. I was in Canada for a year and I'm back in Taiwan. I suffer a little bit of an identity crisis while exploring around in different communities and different industries and set up a principle for yourselves and making decisions. Always remember the culture and the place that shapes who you are. And Taiwan is the place that shapes who I am. So this is the last word for everyone here. Remember who you are, keep exploring, and keep shining. Thank you.